the day the skies burned. The morning had begun like any other in Lumerus, one of Earth's gleaming cities of steel and glass. Sunlight glinted off the mirrored skyscrapers, and the hum of hover cars filled the air. Children laughed in parks and street markets buzzed with life. Yet beneath the calm, something stirred, a distant tremor that no one noticed, a shadow creeping across the stars. Far beyond Earth, in the cold void of space, the Voryx fleet had mobilized. These were not creatures of flesh and bone alone, nor machines built by human hands. The Voryx were a fusion of both, sleek, terrifying constructs that combined biological instincts with technological perfection. Their leaders, towering biomechanical entities, had studied Earth for decades, cataloging every defense, every weakness, every human habit. Now they were ready. Captain Kalen Vire, veteran pilot of the Earth Defense Corps, was already airborne when the first ships breached the atmosphere. His sleek fighter, the Tempest, cut through the dawn clouds, scanning for anomalies. Kalen had faced many drills, simulations, and minor skirmishes, but nothing could have prepared him for what he saw that day. The sky above Lumerus erupted in fire. Massive Voryx warships descended like living comets, their hulls shimmering with an eerie, organic light. From the city streets below, people screamed as the first plasma beams tore through buildings, melting steel and shattering glass. Hover cars tumbled like toys, and the river of the city seemed to boil under the heat. Kalen gritted his teeth, his knuckles white on the controls. He could hear the communications chatter, panicked voices calling for civilians to evacuate, alarms blaring, and the distant roar of collapsing skyscrapers. His heart pounded not just with fear but with anger. This was not a battle, they had called it a massacre. Lyra, his younger sister, was somewhere in the heart of the city. A bright, clever girl of 18, she had always been fearless, exploring abandoned labs and tinkering with machines that older scientists feared to touch. Kalen's mind raced as he tried to locate her on the city's emergency network. Signals were weak, blocked by the chaos. He couldn't afford to lose her. The first wave of Voryx drones swooped down, mechanical wings flaring as they fired. Kalen's Tempest dove and twisted, dodging beams that could have turned him into molten ash in seconds. He fired back, plasma bursts searing the drone's exoskeletons, but for every one destroyed, 3 more emerged from the shadow of the mothership above. Below, Lumerus was burning. Streets were rivers of fire, and the screams of thousands echoed across the city. Kalen's eyes burned with frustration. Earth's military had warned governments of the Voryx threat, but no one had believed the predictions. Humanity had thought itself safe in its orbiting shields and anti-air defenses, but the Voryx technology was beyond anything Earth had seen. Amidst the chaos, Kalen's comms crackled. "Captain Vire," came the voice of Admiral Celera Dune, calm but urgent. "Your priority is civilian rescue. Weapons engagement comes second." "Admiral," Kalen growled, "we can't just sit and watch them." "Do it. Protect lives first. We strike back later. This is not your fight yet." Kalen cursed under his breath, glancing down at the city below. There was no time. He had no choice but to weave through burning towers, dodging falling debris, searching for any signs of life. Through the smoke, he spotted a small figure running across a plaza engulfed in flames. His heart stopped. "Lyra. Lyra," he shouted, but the comms were jammed. The girl glanced up, eyes wide, and ducked behind the remnants of a collapsed structure. Kalen's Tempest swooped low, sending out a rescue drone. A moment later, it latched onto Lyra, encasing her in a protective energy field. Relief flooded him, she was alive for now. But the reprieve was short-lived. From the horizon, the Voryx mothership unleashed a new wave of destruction. It was no longer a simple strike. It was systematic, precise. Entire neighborhoods vanished in seconds, swallowed by the alien fire. Humanity's cities were being mapped, targeted, and annihilated with terrifying efficiency. Kalen felt a cold rage seep into his bones. This was more than an invasion. It was a warning, a message. Earth was weak and the universe did not care. The survivors on the streets, terrified and confused, clung to one another, seeking hope where none existed. Kalen clenched his jaw. Hope was going to come, from him, from humanity itself. Flying above the chaos, he saw other fighters engaging the Voryx. Many were not so lucky. Explosions lit the sky like artificial suns, scattering debris in every direction. Ships collided midair, their pilots barely able to eject before destruction. Earth's defenders were skilled, but they were outmatched. Outnumbered. Outclassed. Still, Kalen refused to retreat. Each plasma bolt he fired, each maneuver he executed, was a small rebellion against annihilation. He dodged a swarm of drones and fired a calculated burst at the Vorix's hull, leaving a smoking scar along its side. It wasn't much, but it was proof humanity could fight. Hours passed. The city was dying, but Kalen, guiding Lyra back to a temporary safe zone, saw flashes of resistance. People banded together, forming human chains to rescue the trapped. Firefighters, soldiers, and volunteers braved collapsing buildings, determined to save whoever they could. And Kalen realized something chilling yet inspiring. Even in the face of extinction, humanity refused to surrender. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Kalen and Lyra reached a makeshift shelter beneath the ruins of a university. They were covered in soot, bruised, and exhausted. Around them, survivors huddled, speaking in whispers of loss, grief, and disbelief. The city they had loved was gone. The skyline, once a symbol of progress, was now a skeleton of steel and glass. Kalen looked at Lyra, her face streaked with ash but her eyes still burning with defiance. "This isn't the end," he said quietly. "We will fight. We will survive. And one day, we'll strike back." Lyra nodded, gripping his hand. "I believe you. We can't let this stand." Outside, the skies were still burning. But inside the hearts of the survivors, a small flame of hope began to grow. It was the spark that would ignite humanity's greatest rebellion. The day the skies burned would not be remembered only as the day of destruction. It would be remembered as the day Earth realized it could no longer be a victim. And so, amidst the ash and chaos, humanity's fight was born. Rising from the ashes. The morning after the skies burned, Earth was a world transformed. Cities that had once glittered with life were now heaps of rubble, streets smoldering with fires that refused to die. Lumerus, Arcadia, and countless other metropolises were ghost towns, the air thick with ash and despair. Survivors wandered like shadows, their eyes hollow from witnessing horrors beyond imagination. Yet, amidst the devastation, a spark of defiance flickered. From the ruins of the old world rose a new determination. Humanity refused to bow. Admiral Celera Dune, leader of the reorganized Earth Defense Corps, stood atop a makeshift command tower overlooking the shattered city of Arcadia. Her presence radiated calm authority, her piercing amber eyes scanning the holographic battle maps that hovered before her. She was a strategist born for chaos, and chaos was all that remained. "Our losses are catastrophic," she admitted to the assembled leaders. "But they underestimated us. They think humanity can be broken by fire. They are wrong." Kalen Vire, his flight suit singed from the day's battle and ash still clinging to his hair, stepped forward. His jaw was tight, his gaze unwavering. "Admiral," he said, "we can't just rebuild. We need to fight back. The Vorix will return. And when they do, we need to be ready, not just to survive but to win." Celera nodded, a ghost of a smile touching her lips. "Exactly why I called you here, Captain. Humanity will fight back, but we fight smarter, stronger, and united. The Phoenix Division will lead the charge." Kalen felt the weight of the name. Phoenix, rising from the ashes. Humanity, burned almost to extinction, would rise stronger than before. The first step was recruitment. Earth was scattered, survivors hiding in underground bunkers and makeshift shelters. Using every communication network still operational, Celera broadcast a message of hope and defiance. "To every citizen of Earth, we are not defeated. We are not broken. Join the fight. Learn. Train. Rise. Humanity will not be crushed." Within weeks, volunteers poured in, bringing scientists, engineers, pilots, and ordinary citizens who refused to be victims. Among them was Lyra Vire, Kalen's sister, whose brilliance with digital networks and hacking became indispensable. She had survived the burning skies by wit and courage alone, and now she was ready to turn her skills into weapons against the invaders. Training for Phoenix Division was grueling. Simulators recreated the Vorix attacks in excruciating detail, forcing pilots to react to impossible odds. Soldiers endured zero-gravity combat drills, testing endurance and reflexes. Engineers worked around the clock, integrating salvaged Vorix tech into human designs. Every day was a battle against exhaustion, fear, and doubt, but humanity adapted. Kalen spent hours in the flight simulators, pushing the Tempest to its limits. The fighter was a hybrid creation, combining human ingenuity with alien technology scavenged from the ruins of destroyed drones. It was faster, more agile, and capable of weaponry previously impossible for human engineers. Kalen felt it hum beneath him like a living creature, a silent partner in the war to come. Lyra, meanwhile, transformed the division's communication network into an intelligence powerhouse. She intercepted Voryx transmissions, decrypted them, and sent the information directly to field commanders. Her work gave humanity an edge, allowing them to anticipate attacks before the enemy even arrived. But the rise of humanity wasn't without sacrifices. Many volunteers fell during training exercises or missions to recover lost technology. Each loss was a reminder of the stakes, a testament to the courage required to fight an enemy that seemed unstoppable. Kalen watched his friends and comrades endure pain, loss, and fear, and he realized that bravery wasn't the absence of fear, it was the decision to act despite it. Amidst the rigorous training, moments of humanity persisted. Survivors shared stories of loved ones lost, of cities destroyed, and of narrow escapes. Children who had seen the skies burn learned to pilot drones and operate scanners. Scientists once confined to labs now trained alongside soldiers, creating strategies and tools in real time. Humanity was no longer scattered, it was becoming a united force, a species reborn for war. 2 years after the massacre, the first signs of Earth's retaliation began to take shape. The Phoenix Division, once a dream, was now a formidable force. Fleets of hybrid human-alien craft orbited key positions, ready for coordinated strikes. Ground forces were equipped with advanced weapons, armor, and tactical knowledge gleaned from studying Voryx patterns. Kalen stood on the deck of the new flagship, the Resolute, looking at a holographic display of the Voryx fleet's last known positions. "It's time," he muttered, more to himself than anyone else. His voice carried the weight of grief, rage, and determination. Humanity had been slaughtered, but the slaughter had not broken them. It had forged them into a weapon. Lyra approached, her tablet glowing with intercepted data. "We've identified their forward base on Mars. Their shield generators are vulnerable. This could be our first real strike." Kalen's gaze hardened. "Then we make it count. No more waiting. No more hiding. It's our turn to decide the terms of this war." Celera joined them, her presence commanding attention. "Remember, this isn't just about revenge. This is about survival, and about showing the universe that humanity will not be intimidated. Every strike we make is a message. We will rise from the ashes and we will endure." As the ship prepared for launch, Kalen thought back to that terrible day when the skies burned. He remembered the screams, the fire, the loss. But he also remembered the spark, the courage of those who survived, the will of humanity to continue despite the impossible odds. That spark now burned brighter than ever, fueling a resolve that could not be extinguished. Outside, Earth's atmosphere glimmered under the rising sun. Cities were still in ruins and the scars of the massacre were visible everywhere. Yet, for the first time in years, the horizon held a glimmer of hope. Humanity was not defeated. Humanity was learning to fight back. The Phoenix had risen from the ashes. And the war for Earth was only beginning. The first counterstrike. 2 years had passed since the skies burned. Earth was no longer the defenseless world the Voryx had thought it to be. Humanity had rebuilt, not just its cities but its spirit. The Phoenix Division, forged in the fires of loss and relentless training, now stood as a force capable of challenging the invaders. Captain Kalen Vire stood on the deck of the Resolute, his gaze fixed on the holographic display of Mars orbit. The Voryx had established a forward command base there, a heavily fortified station controlling the flow of drones and supplies for the next invasion. It was heavily shielded, guarded by a fleet of patrol vessels, and crawling with the alien sentinels Kalen had come to fear and hate. "This is it," Admiral Celera Dune said, her voice calm but sharp, cutting through the tension in the room. "Our first strike. Success here will prove that humanity is no longer defenseless. Failure is not an option." Kalen clenched his fists. He thought back to the burning skies, to the screams of the innocent, to the moment he had rescued his sister Lyra from the ruins of Lumerus. That memory fueled him now. Humanity had been humiliated, slaughtered, and broken, but it had survived. And today they would show the Voryx that Earth was not theirs to conquer. The fleet moved in synchronized precision, a coordinated dance of human ingenuity and salvaged alien technology. Fighters hummed like living creatures, their engines glowing with energy scavenged from destroyed Voryx drones. Kalen climbed into the Tempest, his fighter gleaming under the hangar lights, its hybrid plasma cannons and adaptive shields humming with readiness. Lyra's voice came through his comm, "Captain, I've infiltrated their communications. I can disrupt their shield patterns for a narrow window, 5 minutes, maybe 6. That's all you get." Kalen smirked despite the tension. "Perfect. Just enough time to make it count." The fleet emerged from hyperspace above Mars, and the Voryx immediately responded. Massive patrol ships swarmed, their organic hulls glinting in the planet's light, launching waves of drones toward the human attackers. Explosions lit the void, and debris floated weightlessly in the deadly ballet of destruction. Kalen dove the Tempest through the chaos, twisting and banking to avoid plasma blast. Every maneuver required precision. One wrong move would mean instant death. Yet he moved like a ghost, years of simulations and desperate flights merging into instinct. Lyra now. Kalen barked. On the other end, the young hacker's fingers flew across her interface. Alien shield patterns flickered and faltered, leaving gaps just wide enough for the human fleet to exploit. The first wave of fighters sliced through the weakened shields, striking at the Voryx command hub. Plasma fire raked across the alien armor, tearing holes in the once impenetrable hull. The Voryx responded with brutal efficiency, unleashing waves of drones that homed in on the human ships with terrifying accuracy. Kalen's Tempest weaved through the swarm, firing in calculated bursts, his every action a balance of offense and defense. Around him, his squad mates executed flawless maneuvers, their trust in each other and their training evident in every strike. Humanity's first counterattack was not chaos, it was precision born from determination. Inside the Voryx command base, Lyra's hacking began to take effect. Systems that had once controlled drone deployment and energy shields malfunctioned, creating confusion among the alien ranks. Lights flickered across the Voryx corridors, and the biomechanical creatures, efficient and deadly as they were, paused in disarray. Kalen seized the moment. He led a squadron directly into the heart of the enemy formation, navigating narrow corridors of space debris and laser fire. His hands moved with unerring skill, firing plasma bolts that disabled drones and shredded alien hulls. Explosions erupted around him, sending shards of metal spinning into the void. Even with all their preparation, the counterstrike was not without cost. Ships were lost, pilots gone in flashes of brilliant fire. Kalen watched comrades he had trained with fall, their sacrifices igniting a fire within him that no alien force could extinguish. Each life lost was a reminder of the stakes, each act of bravery a testament to humanity's indomitable spirit. Finally, Kalen's squad reached the command hub. Lyra's guidance allowed them to bypass the remaining shields and breach the inner defenses. Within the hub, the alien control core glowed with a pulsating, eerie light, a heart of alien power that had orchestrated the massacre years before. "On my mark," Kalen said, his voice steady despite the chaos. He coordinated with his team, each fighter locking onto critical points of the hub. Now, a simultaneous volley of plasma fire and explosive charges erupted. The core shattered, sending a shockwave through the station. The Voryx ships trembled, systems failing one by one. Drones crashed to the ground, and the once feared forward base went silent, drifting uselessly in orbit. Humanity had struck back, and the galaxy had taken notice. Kalen hovered in his Tempest, heart pounding as the fleet regrouped. Around him, the pilots cheered through comms, voices shaking with adrenaline and relief. Earth had delivered its first true blow to the Voryx, a statement that reverberated through the stars. Humanity was no longer defenseless. On the ground, survivors watched the faint glow of victory from orbit. They had lived through destruction, but now they could believe in hope. Humanity's fight had begun in earnest, and though the road ahead was long and treacherous, the first counterstrike had proven one undeniable truth: Earth would not be conquered. Kalen looked at Lyra on the comms. "We did it," he said softly, pride and exhaustion mingling in his voice. "Yeah," she replied, her voice trembling with emotion. "And we're just getting started." Admiral Solara's calm tone cut through the celebration. "Prepare for the next phase. The Voryx will retaliate. They will test our resolve. But remember this day, everyone. The day humanity struck back. The day we refused to be victims any longer." As the Tempest returned to the Resolute, Kalen gazed at Mars below, its barren surface now witness to humanity's courage. The first strike had been a victory, but it was also a warning: the war was far from over. And yet, for the first time since the skies had burned, Kalen felt the unshakable certainty that humanity could win. The Phoenix Division had risen, forged in ashes and fire. And with each battle, each act of bravery, Earth's defenders would send a message to the cosmos. Humanity was not to be underestimated, not ever again. Shadows of betrayal. Victory, as exhilarating as it was, carried its own danger. Humanity had struck back for the first time, but the flames of triumph often revealed hidden shadows. Not all threats came from the Voryx. Some came from within. Captain Kalen Vire returned from the Mars counterstrike with the weight of exhaustion and exhilaration pressing on him. The fleet celebrated their victory in orbit, The hum of engines and chatter over comms a testament to human resilience. Yet, Kalen sensed unease, a whisper in the corridors of the Resolute that something was amiss. Admiral Celara Dune had noticed it too. Reports from intelligence networks indicated anomalies, strange gaps in data, unexpected failures during missions, and leaked coordinates that could have compromised operations. She gathered her inner circle, Kalen and Lyra included, in the command chamber. "We've won a battle," Celara began, voice measured but sharp, "but the war is far from over. More concerning are the discrepancies in our data streams. Someone is leaking information." Kalen's fists clenched. He had survived alien slaughter, yet the idea of betrayal among humans struck deeper. "You think it's someone on the fleet?" he asked. "Not just the fleet," Celara replied. Her eyes, usually so calm, hardened. "Somewhere in the higher echelons of Earth's leadership. Someone who believes surrender or appeasement is the only path to survival." That someone was Minister Reichel Thorne, a high-ranking official with influence over Earth's reconstruction. Thorne had long advocated for negotiation with the Vorics, dismissing resistance as futile. Many considered him cautious, but Kalen and Celara knew better. He was willing to sacrifice humanity for personal gain. The first evidence of his betrayal emerged during a routine mission to reclaim a forward supply station. Kalen's squad, expecting resistance only from scattered Vorics patrols, was ambushed by an overwhelming force. The fleet had walked into a trap, yet the Vorics seemed to know their every move. Lyra's analysis revealed the shocking truth. Key navigation data had been transmitted to the enemy, guiding their attack. Kalen's anger was volcanic. "Thorne is feeding them our plans," he growled. "Do you realize how many lives were lost because of him?" Celara nodded gravely. "Yes. And he'll not stop until he's taken everything. Our cities, our fleets, maybe even the Phoenix Division itself. We need proof and we need to act swiftly." Lyra, ever brilliant with technology, began tracing communications, sifting through encrypted transmissions. Hours passed, her fingers flying across the interface as she untangled Thorne's web of betrayal. Finally, she found it, a hidden signal routing sensitive intelligence from Earth's fleet directly to the Vorics command network. Kalen felt a cold fury settle over him. Thorne had gambled with humanity's survival, and lost their trust. "We can't just expose him," he said, voice low. "He's powerful. He'll cover his tracks and escape. We need to stop him permanently." Celara agreed. "But carefully. If Thorne learns we know, he could escalate his betrayal. And make no mistake, he has allies." The plan took shape swiftly. Kalen would lead a small strike team to Thorne's hidden citadel on the outskirts of a reconstructed city. Lyra would accompany him, using her hacking skills to neutralize defenses, while Celara coordinated from orbit, monitoring for unexpected complications. The night of the operation, the city was eerily silent. Shadows stretched across empty streets, the air heavy with tension. Kalen, Lyra, and their team moved like ghosts, using stealth suits designed to evade both surveillance and patrol drones. Every corner could hide an enemy, or a trap. Finally, they reached Thorne's citadel, a fortified skyscraper that once symbolized political power but now stood as a monument to treachery. Lyra hacked the perimeter systems, disabling cameras and security drones. Kalen led the team inside, weapons drawn, senses alert. Thorne was waiting. Calm, composed, and smug. "Ah, Captain Vire," he said, voice dripping with false charm. "I wondered when you'd come. You know you can't change what's coming. The Vorics will win. Resistance is quaint but futile." Kalen's eyes burned with fury. "You've betrayed every life on this planet, Thorne. Every friend, every family, every innocent person you claim to protect." "You misunderstand," Thorne said smoothly. "I'm saving humanity from itself. You're reckless, blind with vengeance. The Vorics offer peace. You offer death." Kalen didn't hesitate. His team advanced, weapons aimed, Lyra overriding the Citadel's internal locks and security measures. The room erupted into a controlled chaos. Alarms blared, doors locked and unlocked as Lyra's code danced through the system. Thorne's guards were swiftly incapacitated by the strike team's precision. Cornered, Thorne attempted to flee, but Kalen intercepted him, holding the traitor at gunpoint. "Your time is over," Kalen said. "Justice is not ours to bargain. It's ours to deliver." Lyra added, her fingers flying over her portable console. "I've secured all your data. Every transmission, every ally, every hidden communication. The world will know your treachery." With the threat neutralized, Celara's voice came over the comm. "Well done. The network is clean. Thorne's influence is gone." Kalen exhaled, tension leaving his body for the first time in hours. It's not just about defeating the aliens, he murmured. We have to protect humanity from itself too. Solara nodded. The Voryx will return. And so will challenges from within. But today, we've proven that even in the shadows of betrayal, humanity can rise. As they left the citadel, the first rays of dawn broke over the horizon. The city, though scarred, was alive again. And for the first time, Kalen realized that the fight for humanity's survival was not just against an alien enemy, it was against fear, greed, and treachery within their own ranks. The Phoenix Division had learned a hard lesson. Victory would require not just courage and skill, but vigilance. Humanity was rising, but the shadows would always test them. And only by standing together, united in purpose, could they hope to survive the trials ahead. Kalen looked at Lyra, determination etched on both their faces. We survived the skies burning, he said. We survived the first strike. Now, we survived the shadows too. Lyra nodded. And we'll make sure nothing stops humanity from fighting back. Above, Earth's skies began to glow with light, the sun illuminating a world that refused to bow. The shadows of betrayal were vanquished, for now, but the war for survival, for honor, and for humanity's place in the stars had only just begun. Humanity unites. The capture of Minister Reichel Thorne had sent shockwaves across Earth. His betrayal exposed the fragile fractures within human leadership, and the near loss of Phoenix Division forces had revealed the stakes of disunity. But instead of despair, humanity found resolve. From the ruins of cities across oceans and continents, leaders, scientists, soldiers, and ordinary citizens convened. The message was clear: Earth would no longer be divided. Humanity had been tested, and now it would rise, united like never before. Admiral Solara Dune convened a global council aboard the orbital flagship the Resolute. Representatives from every surviving nation participated, their faces grave but determined. For decades, Earth had been fractured by politics and borders, but the Voryx threat had shown the futility of division. The enemy had no allegiance, no nationality, only destruction. This is our moment, Solara declared. We have fought, we have suffered, and we have survived. But survival alone is not enough. We must strike together as one species with one purpose. Earth will stand united, and humanity will fight back as never before. Kalen Vire, now a symbol of human resilience and courage, stood alongside her. His voice, calm yet commanding, echoed through the chamber. We cannot rely on old strategies. The Voryx are intelligent, adaptive, and relentless. But we are human. We can think, improvise, and endure. And together we are unstoppable. The first order of business was Project Atlas, humanity's largest collaborative effort. Engineers and scientists from across the globe pooled knowledge, merging alien technology scavenged from the Mars counterstrike with human ingenuity. The result was a massive orbital weapon, capable of targeting enemy fleets and destabilizing alien command networks. Lyra Vire, Kalen's sister, was integral to this effort. Her mastery of digital systems allowed her to integrate Voryx code into Earth's network, creating a predictive intelligence grid. This system could anticipate alien movements, identify weaknesses, and coordinate attacks on a scale humanity had never attempted before. This network will give us an edge, Lyra explained to a room of skeptical leaders. It learns, it adapts. It fights like the Voryx but with human creativity and unpredictability. They won't see us coming. The Council approved the deployment of Project Atlas and the establishment of a new unified military command, the Earth Defense Coalition. Every nation contributed ships, weapons, and personnel. Old rivalries were set aside as humanity prepared for the inevitable retaliation from the Voryx. Training intensified. Soldiers from different nations trained side by side, sharing tactics, languages, and expertise. Kalen oversaw pilot drills, ensuring that the fleet could operate as a seamless unit despite its diversity. Lyra worked tirelessly on the intelligence network, predicting potential Voryx strategies and running simulations that pushed the limits of human ingenuity. The unity wasn't just military, it was cultural. Humanity realized that its diversity was a strength. Engineers in Tokyo developed adaptive energy shields, while technicians in Sao Paulo created hybrid plasma cannons. Medics in Nairobi devised rapid field treatments for injuries from alien weapons. Every nation contributed, and the world's survivors felt a sense of pride, purpose, and belonging unlike any in human history. Amidst this monumental effort, Kalen and Lyra found moments of reflection. Standing on the observation deck of the Resolute, Kalen gazed at Earth below, its continents scarred but glowing with life. "It's amazing," he said quietly. "Look at it, after everything we're still here. And now we're stronger than we ever were." Lyra nodded, her eyes shining with determination. "We've seen how fragile life can be, Kalen. But we've also seen what we can do when we stand together. That's what the Vorics don't understand. They think strength comes from weapons alone. They don't see the power of unity, of a species refusing to give up." Solara's voice came over the comms, steady and resolute. "The Vorics will strike again. When they do, they will find a different Earth. Not a broken, terrified planet, but one that fights as one. Every fleet, every soldier, every human on this planet is ready. We are no longer prey, we are predators." The days that followed were a blur of preparation and innovation. Massive hangars echoed with the sounds of ship construction. Simulation rooms glowed with holographic battlefields where human commanders tested strategies against Vorics tactics. Medical teams trained in new methods to treat alien injuries. Civilians contributed wherever possible, from rebuilding infrastructure to operating communications and logistics. Every effort, no matter how small, was a contribution to survival. One evening, as the sun dipped below Earth's horizon, Kalen gathered the Phoenix Division pilots. They stood on the deck of the Resolute, their eyes reflecting the orange glow of the setting sun. "We fight not just for revenge," Kalen said, his voice carrying over the wind. "We fight for Earth. For our families, our friends, and every human who refuses to bow. Today we are one planet, one species. Together we are unstoppable." The pilots cheered, a sound that reverberated through the ship and across the fleet. It was a sound of hope, courage, and defiance, the sound of humanity refusing to be broken. Lyra, watching from the operations deck, smiled. "They don't know it yet," she said almost to herself, "but the Vorics are about to learn the hardest lesson of their existence." Project Atlas neared completion, a silent guardian in orbit, ready to strike when the Vorics appeared. The intelligence grid hummed with data, predicting every potential threat. Humanity had transformed from a species on the brink of extinction to a species capable of confronting cosmic terror with strategy, unity, and courage. As night fell across the Earth, cities twinkled like stars, survivors working tirelessly, training and preparing. For the first time since the massacre, there was a sense of peace, a calm before the inevitable storm. But it was not fear that filled the hearts of Earth's defenders. It was determination. Kalen and Lyra stood together, looking up at the stars where the Vorics fleets awaited. "We're ready," Kalen said, his voice steady. Lyra nodded. "And when they come, they'll see what humanity is capable of. We've risen from the ashes. And now, the universe will know we are not to be underestimated." Above, the Earth shone with resilience and unity. A planet that had been scarred by fire and death now stood ready, united under a single banner: humanity will not be defeated. The Phoenix Division and the Earth Defense Coalition had forged a new era. Together they would fight back. Together they would win. And together they would show the universe that Earth was no longer prey, it was a force to be reckoned with. The final battle. The Vorics had returned. For months, Earth's intelligence grid had tracked the alien fleet moving through the outer edges of the solar system. Unlike before, this was not a probing attack, it was a full-scale invasion. Thousands of biomechanical ships darkened the void, their sheer numbers a testament to the Vorics' determination to annihilate humanity once and for all. Captain Kalen Vire stood on the bridge of the Resolute, surrounded by the Phoenix Division and senior commanders from the Earth Defense Coalition. The atmosphere was tense but electrified with determination. Every fighter pilot, every soldier, every strategist aboard knew that the fate of Earth rested on their shoulders. Admiral Celera Dune addressed the assembled leaders. "This is it. The Vorics intend to obliterate everything we've fought for. Every city, every survivor, every human life is at stake. But we are ready. Project Atlas is operational. Our fleets are coordinated. Humanity will not fall today." Lyra Vire, working tirelessly at the operations console, looked up from her screens. "All systems are green. I've integrated predictive algorithms into all active ships. We can anticipate their maneuvers, coordinate counterattacks, and disrupt their command hierarchy. This is our moment." Kalen took a deep breath and activated the Tempest. The ship's engines roared to life, a hybrid of human ingenuity and salvaged Vorics technology. Around him, hundreds of human fighters emerged from orbit, forming a radiant shield of readiness. The Vorics fleet advanced in deadly formations, their ships pulsating with alien energy, weapons primed to incinerate Earth's defenses. Kalen's heart raced, not with fear but with purpose. Humanity had trained for this moment for years. Every loss, every sacrifice had led to today. Engage, Celera commanded. The battle erupted with the force of a cosmic storm. Plasma beams lanced through space, colliding with energy shields. Ships maneuvered in complex patterns, dodging, weaving, and firing in coordinated volleys. The Voryx unleashed waves of drones, their biomechanical bodies thrashing through space, seeking to tear apart humanity's defenses. Kalen dove the Tempest into the heart of the swarm, twisting and banking through a maelstrom of destruction. Every decision was split-second. One miscalculation meant death. Yet amidst the chaos, Kalen felt the rhythm of battle. The unity of human pilots, the coordination of the fleet, the intelligence network guiding every maneuver. Humanity was not scattered. It was a single, unstoppable organism. Lyra's voice came through comms, calm and focused. Captain, the Voryx command ships are weak at the dorsal nodes. If you can breach them, we can disrupt their fleet's coordination. Kalen nodded, gripping the controls. Understood. Tempest, full throttle. Let's make it count. He surged forward, weaving between enemy ships, dodging plasma fire, and taking calculated shots at the weak points Lyra had identified. Explosions erupted around him as Voryx ships faltered and drifted into chaos. Meanwhile, on the ground, Earth's orbital weapons, the culmination of Project Atlas, activated. Massive energy beams shot from orbital stations, cutting through Voryx cruisers and dismantling their shield generators. Cities across the globe watched as flashes of light illuminated the night sky, signaling humanity's resistance and determination. Inside the Voryx command core, chaos spread. Without the shield nodes, the alien fleets could no longer coordinate. Waves of drones collided with each other, ships spun out of control, and panic rippled through the ranks of the invaders. Humanity's intelligence network, powered by Lyra's algorithms, exploited every weakness, predicting enemy movements and guiding human forces with surgical precision. Kalen led a strike team directly into the core of the enemy fleet. The Tempest darted between colossal command ships, firing plasma bolts that shredded armor and disrupted control systems. Around him, fellow pilots executed daring maneuvers, creating openings for human fleets to press the attack. Inside the mothership's control nexus, Lyra's hacking penetrated the final layer of alien defense. Systems overloaded, alarms screamed, and the Voryx command entity, a massive biomechanical overlord, screeched in frustration and rage. Kalen's squad surged through the breach, boarding the mothership to neutralize the heart of the invasion. Close quarters combat erupted. Kalen and his team fought Voryx warriors, alien limbs and biometallic weapons clashing against human ingenuity and precision. Each strike, each tactical maneuver, showcased humanity's adaptability and determination. Humans were not just fighting, they were overcoming, learning, evolving in real time. Finally, Kalen reached the central core. With Lyra's guidance, he initiated the final sequence, destabilizing the power matrix, sending cascading failures through the mothership systems. Lights flickered, the structure shook violently, and the Voryx fleet above began to crumble. Core is unstable. Lyra shouted. You have seconds before it detonates. Kalen hesitated for only a heartbeat, then signaled his squad. Eject. Now. The Tempest and accompanying ships pulled back as the mothership erupted in a cataclysmic explosion, its fragments scattering across space like a dying star. The remaining Voryx ships, leaderless and in chaos, retreated beyond the solar system, their once mighty invasion force shattered. A cheer erupted across the human fleet, a sound of triumph, relief, and unyielding spirit. Humanity had won, not by superior strength alone but by unity, intelligence, and courage. Kalen exhaled, exhaustion and elation mingling in his chest. We did it, he murmured to Lyra, who smiled from the operations deck. Solara's voice came over comms, calm yet filled with pride. Today Earth proved it is not prey. Today humanity reclaimed its place among the stars. But remember this, we have won a battle, not the war. We must remain vigilant. As the Tempest and the fleet returned to orbit, Kalen looked down at Earth. Cities glimmered despite the scars, life continuing, resilient and vibrant. Humanity had endured annihilation and emerged stronger, more united and capable of facing the unknown challenges of the cosmos. Lyra placed a hand on her brother's shoulder. The skies burned once. We survived. Now we've shown them what humanity is capable of. Kalen nodded, eyes on the stars. And the universe will never forget it. Above Earth, the sun rose, bathing the planet in golden light. The Vorax threat had been repelled, but humanity had gained more than victory. It had gained confidence, unity, and proof that even against a superior foe, human courage and ingenuity could triumph. The Phoenix Division and the Earth Defense Coalition had written a new chapter in human history. Humanity was no longer the hunted, it was a force to be reckoned with, capable of standing tall in a universe full of dangers, prepared for whatever came next. The final battle had been won, but the story of humanity's rise from ashes was only just beginning. Earth's reckoning. Silence settled across the solar system. For the first time in years, there were no Vorax signals, no incoming attacks, no alarms screaming across human defenses. Instead, space itself seemed to exhale, releasing a breath held since that first terrible day, the day the skies had burned. Captain Kalen Vire stood on the observation deck of the Resolute, gazing at the curve of Earth. The planet shimmered in soft blues and whites, streaked with the scars of war yet undeniably alive. Clouds drifted lazily above continents already beginning to heal. Small points of light, cities, settlements, new defense towers, glowed across the dark regions of the globe. It didn't look like a defeated world. It looked like a reborn one. Lyra Vire joined him, her usually sharp features softened by exhaustion and relief. "The last Vorax signal vanished an hour ago," she said. "Their retreat trajectory suggests they've jumped beyond our long-range scan ranges. They're really gone." Kalen nodded, but the weight of everything, the battles, the sacrifices, the lives lost, pressed against his chest like gravity. "We won," he whispered, almost as if saying it too loudly would shatter the fragile peace. Lyra leaned against the railing beside him. "Yes, but we didn't win because we were stronger. We won because we refused to break." She gave him a small smile. "That's what makes us human." Behind them, the doors slid open and Admiral Celara Dune walked onto the deck. Her uniform was marked with the fresh insignia of the newly unified Earth Defense Coalition. She looked older, the stress of leadership etched into her features, but her eyes shone with pride. "It's time," Celara said gently. Kalen and Lyra followed her into the council chamber of the Resolute, where representatives from every nation awaited. Holographic screens displayed the quiet solar system, the remnants of the Vorax fleet drifting in powerless silence. Humanity's victory was undeniable. Celara stepped to the center. "We stand at a turning point in human history," she began, her voice echoing through the grand chamber. "Years ago, the Vorax came with one purpose: extinction. They believed humanity was weak, that we were disorganized, divided, easily broken." She paused, looking at the faces around her. "But they were wrong. Humanity united. We turned knowledge into weapons. We turned fear into courage. We turned tragedy into strength. Today Earth stands, not as fragmented nations, but as one species." A ripple of applause spread across the chamber. Kalen felt something inside him shift. The praise didn't feel like victory. It felt like responsibility. Celara continued. "Let the universe know this truth. Humanity does not surrender. Humanity rises. Humanity fights back." In the days that followed, Earth buzzed with an energy it hadn't felt since before the invasion: hope. Cities once reduced to ash began reconstruction. Nations shared technologies freely, blending cultures, knowledge, and dreams. Project Atlas became the backbone of a new planetary shield, ensuring Earth would never again be caught unprepared. The Phoenix Division became legendary, their story spreading across the world like a beacon. Kalen, though hailed as the hero of the fleet, spent most of his time visiting the families of fallen soldiers. He met mothers who had lost sons, children who had lost parents, and friends who had lost everything but spirit. Each meeting carved deeper marks into his heart. One evening he stood at the edge of the Global Memorial Plaza, where names of the fallen were engraved across crystal pillars. Lights illuminated them softly, creating the effect of stars shimmering across the surface. Lyra arrived beside him, carrying a small case. "You should see this," she said. Inside the case was a crystalline shard she had retrieved from the Vorax mothership, their former command core. With her expertise, she had decoded the last stored data fragment. "It's a record," she said. "Their perspective of us. Their final message." Kalen swallowed. "What does it say?" Lyra activated the fragment. A projection flickered to life, alien script flowing like liquid metal. Her translation appeared beneath it. "The humans are relentless. They adapt. They defy logic, fear, and death itself. This species is not prey. They are a force of nature." Kalen released a breath he didn't realize he'd been holding. For the first time, the Vorax had understood. Lyra whispered, "They feared us." "No," Kalen corrected gently. They respected us. The next week, a massive gathering took place in the unified capital, Nova Arcadia. Millions attended in person, billions more watched from screens across the world. The sky was clear, no alien ships, no smoke, only the bright sun over a world determined to rebuild. Kalen, Lyra, Celera, and the leaders of Earth stepped onto a grand platform overlooking the crowd. The people erupted into cheers, not from desperation as they had early in the war but from triumph. Celera addressed the world once again. Today we close the wounds of the past, but we also begin a journey into the stars. We have seen that we are not alone in the universe, and we have proven that humanity can stand against a superior foe. We will explore, we will defend, and we will thrive. She turned to Kalen. Captain Vire, humanity owes you more than words. You showed us what courage looks like. Kalen stepped forward, humbled. We survived because we stood together. I am no hero alone. Humanity is the hero here. The crowd roared. Lyra added, this victory isn't an ending, it's the beginning of a new chapter. We are no longer isolated. Earth is rising. That night, Kalen returned to the observation deck. He gazed at the stars, no longer symbols of danger but invitations. Lyra joined him, once again looking both tired and energized. Do you think they'll return? She asked softly. Kalen looked thoughtful. The Vorics? Maybe. One day. He shrugged slightly. Maybe another species will come first. Maybe they'll be peaceful. Maybe they won't. Lyra smiled. Either way, we'll be ready. Kalen nodded. Yes, we will. Humanity learned the hardest lesson imaginable. And we're stronger for it. Solara's voice echoed as she entered the deck behind them. We aren't just defending Earth anymore. We're stepping into the universe. As equals. The three shared a quiet moment, watching the sunrise wash over Earth. A new dawn. A new era. A new humanity. Kalen whispered, the massacre changed us, but it didn't end us. Lyra answered, no. It awakened us. Celera finished the thought with firm conviction. That was Earth's reckoning. And the stars will never underestimate humanity again. Above the planet, the first newly constructed human starship, the Horizon, ignited its engines, lifting into space with a brilliant flare. Humanity was no longer surviving. Was ascending. And this time the universe would remember the name of Earth.